The ANC has resolved to keep its 2017 step-aside resolution, but the party says it must be applied fairly.
Now, delegates from both Limpopo and KZN's ANC branches wanted the rule to be completely scrapped. They say it's being used actually as a political weapon against certain members only.
Well, Ramaphosa says the rule will stay to maintain the integrity of the ANC as well as its leaders.
The overwhelming view of the policy conference is for the retention of the step-aside provisions to enhance the integrity of the movement and its leadership. Conference also noted that there are strong concerns on the perceived lack of consistency in the application and implementation of this policy. Conference agreed that these must receive urgent attention so that the application of the guidelines is impartial, is fair, and is consistent.
Still with the policy conference, the ANC is calling for the restructuring of SOEs, state-owned entities, of course. Ramaphosa says this is to ensure comprehensive growth and social development, going on to say that the ANC's National Policy Conference did acknowledge that the roles played by both the public and private sectors in improving the lives of South Africans is very, very important.
We have called for the state to be strengthened, for our state-owned enterprises to be stabilized, restructured and effectively capacitated to drive inclusive economic growth and social development. We have recognized the vital role of the private sector, particularly small business and the informal sector, including cooperatives. We've recognized that the private sector should continue to play a role in creating employment and other livelihood opportunities, and so should the public sector as well. And we have proposed a range of measures to unlock the huge potential of businesses of all sizes to emerge, to grow, and to thrive. We have recognized that our economic progress requires a secure supply of affordable and sustainable energy. Conference endorsed the actions recently announced by government to improve the performance of Eskom's existing power stations and to add new generation capacity to the grid as quickly as possible.
Well, Ramaphosa has declared the party's 6th National Policy Conference a success. Unemployment, the rising cost of living and corruption were just among other topics discussed. But one political analyst says he hopes the party will implement the proposed policies.
We must commend the ANC for a very successful policy conference. I think really they displayed a high level of professionalism and discipline in terms of understanding and focusing on the purpose of the occasion. So, the occasion, the event, it was to go there and discuss policy matters. I think they've done well when it comes to that. And we know ANC, and by extension our government, that they've got a very good reputation of crafting very good policies, but also a very bad reputation of implementing those policies. So I think unfortunately they are not there yet in terms of crafting good policies and implement them. And now we had the good things they said. Obviously, these are still proposals and they're still going to be endorsed or rejected by the conference in December. However, still, when it comes to implementation, knowing the ANC, it becomes a talk shop. You know, it's just like, it's another It's another event. They just go there, they talk. But what does this help someone who is down there with the challenges that the country is facing?
Well, the ANC has promised to continue tackling violence against women and children. Ramaphosa says no one in our country or around the world deserves to live in fear. As the party held its conference this last weekend, news of the gang rape of 8 women came to light. The ANC's Social Transformation Subcommittee is now proposing chemical castration for rapists.
We are all agreed that all South Africans have a right to live in peace and security, and that no one should live in fear of crime, violence, or abuse. We are committed to work together to end all forms of violence committed by men against women and children.
Now, an ANC committee's call for chemical castration of rapists is not practical. That's the perspective coming from feminist and social justice activist Pelisa Nkomo. The Social Transformation Subcommittee, led by Lindiwe Sisulu, made the call yesterday.
I mean, there's serious contradiction with that proposal. In fact, it's quite shocking, by the way, that Minister Lindiwe would raise that as a feminist. Because the key issue here, we need to talk about what is the social system that defines who we are as a society. That's the patriarchal system. And the heart of it is actually the fact that it grants so much power to masculinity. But within that system is that you also do get women who are custodians of the patriarchal system. Now, it's addressing gender-based violence through castration is actually dealing with the symptom. It doesn't deal with the actual social system that is destructive to both women and men, by the way, because patriarchal system don't only subject women into, oppressive second-class citizens, but also it puts as well additional pressure to masculinity. Amongst the key things, it gives them 3 responsibilities in society, is that they must lead, they must protect, and they must provide. Now, in a modern economy where, in fact, everyone else has to compete and get access to opportunities. So what happens? So the biggest issue, and that's why I'm saying that I'm quite disappointed with that conversation. I think the second issue, though, is that, of course, South Africa has a very progressive constitution. So in essence, I don't understand why it would even make that proposal, because it would not even go any further. And what it also means with that proposal, it means that there hasn't been a much more deeper thinking on what is exactly the source of gender-based violence.